Okay, so illusion of space is, I'll just go through the illusion of space is like the 3D objects that you find, how you are going to represent it in the 2D surface. So most of you guys design the 3D elements that you create, or the 3D objects that you find. When you are going to represent it in the 2D surface, it's called the illusion of space. So, but the space in the paper, you have X and Y axis, but there is no Z, like there is no depth that you can create in the paper. So we use certain techniques to represent that in the paper. So the simplest way of creating a 3D, this is just a, this is, can you see, this one is just an image of a space, and this is a drawing done by the artist Picasso, Pablo Picasso, and see how he tries to get that 3D object into the paper. In 3D objects, you see light and shade. It creates with that effect. But when it comes to creating it in the paper, you have to think about the depth. So the easiest way to create the depth is manipulating with the size. It's like when you have bigger objects, bigger size elements, like it's more closer to you, and when you are creating small size of the same component, it's more far away from you. Let's look at this example first. See, there are these two boards. This board, both are the same objects, but this board is bigger than the board on the left. But the bigger board is more closer to you, and the smaller board is more far away from you. But let's say you just draw these two just in a horizontal line. Will you feel the same effect? What do you guys say? Let's say these two boards, or this, let's consider about these two letters. You have a big letters like the word size here, and that small letters here, just in a horizontal line. Do you guys really see the depth of it or not? By placing the two scale word in the same horizontal line, do you feel it or not? What do you guys think? Do you feel? Oh, no idea. Actually, when you are placing the elements in a horizontal line, you will not feel that it is at the back or it's more closer to you. It's depending on the size as well as the position. See, these small letters are at the back at a different position in a diagonal angle, or you need to have a repetition, like when you have a big letter here, and when it repeats, you will feel the difference about of the size of the component, whether it's more closer to you or it's more far away from you. And also the context, the surrounding is also another important factor when you feel the difference between the bigger element and the small element. Let's imagine you have these two boards in horizontal line without this background. Then you will also see that it's two elements, just have one is on the right side and one is on the left side. So context is also important. This the manipulating of sizes of these elements can be done for the figures and also the shapes and also the 3D objects that you find. See here also the big, you see this, this is what I said, the repetition of the circles. Can you see this big circle feels more closer to you, and these small circles are at the back. It's like this is in front and this is going back, and this is more far away, and again it's coming towards you, and it's again going back. When you have a repetition, you will also feel that, and also when you have the context. See this one, you have just the human figure. Consider of the human figure. This is big in scale, and the middle one is a little smaller, and the people who are sitting at the back are their scale is smaller than the everyone. So you will feel these people at the back, and this is in the, it's a little far away, and this one is more closer to you. But it depends also with the context. See, with the background as well. So background is also playing a major role here. And another easy way of creating the depth of a composition is overlapping. See, all these figures are just looking like it's on a one, it's more closer to each other and in a, like a horizontal line. But because of this overlapping, you see this person is at the back, and this one is in front of him, and this boy is also in front, because of the overlapping of those elements. And that's also a simplest way. These two are simplest way of creating the depth in a composition. And you can also have this overlapping technique used in the transparent elements, but it depends. You need to create the outline, which one is in front. Otherwise, we will see at the end, there is a few images that shows the transparency. Sometimes it's very hard to find which is in front and which is at the back. And this is another technique you can use to show the depth. It's called the vertical location. It's like the objects that are placed at the bottom of the paper is more closer to you, and the elements that are far away on the top are more far away from you. Anyone can say this composition, this technique can be used in certain kind of images. Like what type of images can you place it in a vertical location? Have an idea? When you are looking at this, are you looking at the eye level of this image, or from a elevated point of view? Who's elevated? So when you are looking at an image or looking at a scene from a top view, this is the easy way to communicate the depth. The more closer elements will be, you can place it at the bottom, and the elements at the top are more far away. This is another example. See, this composition just paste some elements. This is a collage artwork. Just pasted some pictures of certain elements, but still you can see these tins and this meat is more closer to you, and those fruits at the top are more far away from you. But can you see the angle that it has created? All these three elements, you can see the top of it, but in the topmost two fruits, it's like the image has been taken, just you can see it just like the front view of the fruit. So this is also created that view of looking at it from a top angle. And also here they did not use this overlapping or the different sizes also. So pure from the vertical location technique used to create the depth of the composition. And there is another technique. This is called aerial perspective, atmospheric perspective as well. It's totally creating using the value of the color. It's like more shaded colors. If you use more shaded colors and if you have more detailed elements, they are more closer to you. If you use the tint, that means more lighter values, those elements are far away from you. And also when you use the contours, also like the outlines are more or less contrast, it also gives you gives that element feeling so far away from you. So here, see the values they use the darker values, so it looks like it's more closer to you, and when it use the lighter values, they are so far away from you. And here, see the details of these elements are high, so you feel it's more closer. And when you use this blurred, like the contours are not clear and all that, those elements are perceiving like it's more far away from you. And this is a kind of calling the orthographic projection. It's like when you do your design, this is some of the techniques that you can use to represent your design. It's like showing certain parts, looking at a design in a different point of view. Like this is the bottom one is the plan of it. It's like looking at the object from top, and the topmost image is elevation. We call it elevation. It's like looking at your design in the front, back, or side views. And also designers use these two types of drawings, and also there is another one called perspective, architectural perspective. Architectural perspective is mostly about vanishing points, and it calls also the linear perspective as well. So we will go through it now. Yeah. So this is an example for architectural perspective. These drawings can be done by anyone. It's just a simple technique to use. I will show you how to do that as well. So this is called the linear perspective. This is we also call it linear perspective is a general term, but this image here specially called a one-point perspective. You can experience this situation when you are going on a valley. If there are buildings on both sides, it's like if the alley is a very long alley, you feel that all the elements, all the lines which are horizontal to you are merging at one point at the end. So when you are doing these drawings, make sure, this is very important thing, you have to draw this horizon line. Horizon line is the line that is where your eye level is, where you're looking at. So the vanishing point always lies on this horizon line. It doesn't need to be in the center. It can go to the left as well as to the right side. It happens, let's say, when you are walking on the alley, you will see the vanishing point in the center. But if you move more towards to the left side, the vanishing point is also moved to the left side. It's the ways when you are standing here and looking at the right side, when you see the most of the facade of the right side, your vanishing point is like somewhere here, because then you will see a bigger area of the right side and you will see the shorter area from the left side. It will be the vice versa as well. So the vanishing point can move from here to there, but all the vertical lines that you see will be vertical. There is no vanishing point for that one. So this one is called one-point perspective. This was started in the Renaissance period. It's like the 14th to 16th century. This is started in Europe. This is a artwork done using the one-point perspective. Can you see the horizon line is here, this line, and all these lines are connecting, merging to this center point. Even though the floor tiling also, everything is, but when you see it in a elevation point of view, when you see these areas will be just vertical and horizontal, because the merging lines are most probably some where it lies on here on top and the bottom. When you see it in elevation, it will not merge those lines into the center point. That one called the one-point perspective. This is another example for it. See here, I think the vanishing point is somewhere here. All these lines will merge to this point. This one as well. And this one is called a two-point perspective. This you can experience this one when in a crossroad, when you are at the corner. If you see the facade on the left and the right hand side, you can see this kind of a, you can see this kind of image. See, then there are, but this, even though you still have that horizon line, the point of view, on that one you have one vanishing point on the left hand side and you have another vanishing point on the right hand side. All the elements on this side will vanishing into that one, and the lines on the left hand side will vanish onto the left hand side. You can use this technique to draw 3D objects. You can just simply try it with a cube. This is a great way of learning how to draw also. This is a perspective view done using that two-point perspective. These all are called the linear perspectives. This one is called multi-point, but this one is like the three-point perspective. These two examples. See how a cube has been created using this 3-point. You feel this, you need this 3-point perspective when you are looking at an element from bottom. Like if you lift something and you are looking from a worm's eye view, it's like you will see the 3-point perspective view. And if you are looking from a bird's eye view, that is from top, you have that vanishing point, that the third vanishing point more down. See that I said about when you have this 2D paper here. Let's imagine now let's say this is a paper. So when you are looking at it from top, see this point is at the bottom of the paper, so it's more closer to you, and this point is more far away from you when you are going up. And this one, the worm's eye view, it works as the other way around. The topmost part is more closer to you and the bottom part is more far away from you. But in actual situation, you will not see most of the times in 1-point or 2-point perspective. You will see multi-point perspective. Just remember, this one is called multi-point. There is another one we will learn that is called multiple. So this is multi-point. That's because so many elements that we find in the environment are not in this angle or this angle. It will be, so see here, this is just in a different angle to this wall. So this one's vanishing point is somewhere here. This one's vanishing point is in the center. This wall also center. And this wall, you will find the vanishing point here. But all the vanishing point lies on this horizon line. This is another example for this multi-point perspective. See, these lines will vanish at here, somewhere here. This will be the horizon lines. And this will be, yeah, this one vanishing somewhere here, this one vanishing somewhere here. And this one is going, yeah, this handrail is going here. So there are multiple points, but still it all lies on this horizon line. And this one is called amplified perspective. Amplified perspective is kind of when you zoom it to one element and crop it and frame it, then your eyes will be focusing to this one and comparing with this element with the others, you feel that perspective experience, the illusion of space actually. This is another example for it. Just zoom it and crop it here. But this one also, can you see, this one also has that effect, that 1 point perspective effect. All these things merging, the lines merging into the center of it. And this one is called the multiple perspective. It's kind of a art technique used by the Egyptian in the Egyptian artwork. It's like, can you see when you are looking at this image, it's a kind of a different, like it's not natural actually. This body is facing front, like we can see it in front, but the face, it's 90 degrees turn, but the eyes are not. It's like when you turn like this, the eyes will not show like that. The eyes is also in front elevation, so that's why it's called the multiple perspective. This one has been used in the Egyptian art and also by the Pablo Picasso, his artwork. He used this technique as well. It's the early stage of this Cubism movement. And this now, because of the development of the technology and all that, you can see not only the 180 degree view or just say a 60 degree angle or a small angle, you can see almost the 360 degree rotation view photography as well. So it's something like this, the total the image of a 360 degree angle, it has multiple vanishing points and all those things, and this is a more complicated. But now, because of this technology, we can develop these kind of images as well. And this is another technique that most of you guys will use in your coming years and all that. This one is called the isometric projection. Isometric projection is there is no vanishing point. It's all the lines are parallel. So see, when you think about this one, there is no, these lines are going and merging at any point. All these lines, you will draw it as parallel to each other, and this one parallel to that, these lines. So this is some of the examples. See here also, these lines will not, but in the perspective, you know that these two lines, if you are just standing here, you will see this one, or let's say you're standing here, these all lines will be vanishing somewhere here. It's like 2 point perspective, but this one is called isometric projection. So all these lines are parallel to each other. You will find these two techniques like these two options in the softwares as well. When you are doing your 3D, when you develop 3D models and all that, in softwares, you will find this isometric and the perspective options. This is also an isometric projection. And this one is called open form and closed form. This is kind of a explaining of the composition. This is not the technique to use to give the depth, but this is to explain the total composition. So can you see this? This is this image, and also I will go to the other one. Like see here, this one, the same image, but this one is cropped, almost cropped. The view has been cropped, like showing the continuation also. Here you have all those components within this frame. So this one is called the closed form. So that means all the elements and the objects are within the frame. So your eyes will be focused into the frame, not out of the frame. So all are in. But in the open form, this one is called open form. But this one, you just crop it. It usually happens when you're cropping it in somewhere in the middle, or just off-centered or something like that. But then you see, can you see that you will feel that this one will continue more from to the left. So this is called the open form. Let's go some of the. This one is, see, this is the Manhattan. So the whole, these buildings are framed in. So it's like a closed form composition. And here the seagull is also framed inside, and the whole object is within the composition. So it's a closed form. But can you see this fence outside? It has been cropped to, it has been cropped in this composition. So it's looking like it's continuing up, and it's continuing onto this side and this side and the bottom. So this part is like an open form. What do you think about this one, this sculpture? Do you guys think it's an open form or closed form? This monument. What do you guys think? Just the simplest thing is, just when it crops, when you think it's continuing, it's open form. Let's see, this is the Edmund Law Library here. So when you consider about the library, what do you think? It's a closed form or open form here? The library. It's within the frame. So there is no continuation outside. The whole Edmund Law Library is captured into this image. But the flags, when you consider about the flag, when you are looking at the flags, what do you think? It's open form or the closed form? Open form, yes. Because you see it's continuing onto this side and here. So this just simply like cropping an image. If you're cropping it somewhere in the center or some off center or somewhere like that, then if you feel that it's continuing to that direction or any direction, it's open form. And this is what I talked about, the transparency. See here, this is a Pac-Man, and the Pac-Man, and this one is the for ghost. Like see here, this one is looking transparent, but you cannot identify whether the Pac-Man is the one that is more closer to us and the ghost are at the back, or the ghost are in front and the Pac-Man is the back, because when it transparency, I told you if it not outlined properly, or as I said about the overlapping, it's very hard to find which location is which. So this is another example for it, the transparency, too transparent, which is in the front and the back. And yeah, that's for the today lecture. Do you guys have any questions about the illusion of space? This is more important for you guys. Just learn about how to do perspectives as well, because perspective, this 1 point, 2 point, multi-point perspectives is important for you when you are doing your design in the future. And also about the isometric projection. But now you can use softwares to do that as well. And I will also go through the quiz study guide of the other quiz that we are going, but we will not have the quiz next week. We will have it week after next, because that quiz includes also the illusion of motion, some of the questions from that one. So we will have another lecture on next week. So it's illusion of motion. I will not have the quiz on that same day. So we will have this quiz 6 on week 16. I will shift that to that one. And those study guide for the illusion of motion part, I will do it next week. But for this illusion of space, those questions, I will go through it. Just the study guide, I will go through it. It's quiz 6. Yes. So I will go through only with these things. The first one, second, yeah. The kinesthetic empathy will be discussed also in the illusion of motion. Storyboards also we will discuss next week, and this optical movement in the after image. Yeah, we will go through these 3 and this 2. So the orthographic projection is like when we are using the plan, elevation, and perspective. And method to create illusion of space is we learn about the size, overlapping, vertical location, and linear perspective. Linear perspective is 1 point, 2 point, and multi-point. And the other thing I forgot about, isometric projection as well. That's also a way of creating the illusion of space. And the other one is, yeah, understand the linear perspective. Linear perspective is something that you have the horizon line and all the horizontal lines will be merged into a vanishing point which lies on that horizon line. So horizon line is the line that you have all your vanishing points in the linear perspective. And aerial perspective is all about the color. The value of the color is used, whether it's the shading and the tint will be used to create the elements more closer to you and more far away, and also the contrast. I told you about the more detailed elements, the more contrast elements are more closer to you, and the elements which are less contrast and the contours are not visible properly, those are more far away from you. And the isometric projection is totally, there is no vanishing point, all the lines are parallel to each other. So that's, I think that's all. And assignment, you will have the same assignment that we have done. We just started last week. We will do it during this week, and your due date is, I think, Friday or Thursday. Just check on the canvas on that one. I forgot about it. So you can go ahead now and do your quiz 5. Do you guys have any questions with this one? Or your assignments last week? No.